that is the best way to start a Monday when your Monday's really a Tuesday because you decided to take the day off work. And then that song should be in more movies. That's a great song.
Well, and you wouldn't have, some of the curses other songs have gotten about this. If this song is in the movie, it's about Vietnam. Proud.
Yes.
Any CCR song, for instance.
For example.
This movie must be about Vietnam because CCR is in it.
Yeah. Great. It's fun.
It's got a little edge to it, and I'm all for it. All here for it, man.
So we got some big stories in both sports and pop culture today, and we're going to start with South Bend, Indiana. Dateline, South Bend, Indiana. And let me go ahead and get all the things out before we let you
to visit. I wouldn't want to live there.
Well, most college towns, people don't. They move, they leave. There's enough people to keep the town going, of course. But look, yes. There was holding on that play. Who gives a shit? There's holding on every play. Calls are missed, and more often than not, they get balanced out. A&M went in there, won that game. Andy, first of all, how are you feeling just about the win? And then we'll talk about what that win means for the rest of the season.
Well, to your point, before I get to that, there were plenty of missed calls on both sides because we brought our SEC refs with us, and the SEC refs are horrible, and they were horrible on a national stage. And if anything's going to, generate change with the SEC officiating crews, maybe it's embarrassing the national treasure that is Notre Dame on national TV. Maybe that'll get somebody in Birmingham to wake up and go, wow, we really need to improve this part of our product because it's really, really bad. Having said that,
the one thing you and Scott kept telling me to prepare for. So every time there's a blown call, I think to you two.
Having said that, I still haven't seen the holding on the kickoff return for the touchdown 2 minutes earlier in the game, so I'm okay with the missed holding. I will say I'm surprised. I'm shocked. Anybody who's been watching this show know I'm not very high on A&M's chances to do much of anything this year other than trip on their own dicks. Still plenty of opportunity to do that. We're only 3 games in, but we're going to score 2 points against Auburn somehow in 2 weeks. I'm not just book that. Anyway, it's an exciting win for the program. Either somebody really oversold how good Notre Dame's defense was going to continue to be after Al Golden left, or somebody really underestimated A&M's passing offense because that was not the way you were going to be able to beat Notre Dame walking into this game. You weren't supposed to be able to pass on their man-to-man handling defense.
Yeah.
And A&M, we had a receiver put up 200 yards. I think we had close to 100 yards of passing.
It wasn't like there's like an 80. It wasn't like an more than 80-yard touchdown pass, and there was most
86,
catch and run,
86
right?
yards on a wheel route. And for the A&M fans that are watching this, the wheel route has special pain for us because we couldn't defend it for like a decade. So scoring on it's neat.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's fun to be the other side for a minute. No, I think this is. I don't want to go so far as saying it's a program-defining win. I don't want to say it's the signature win for Mike Elko. I guess it is to this point because it is non-conference. Hostile environment somewhat. Notre Dame's not really known for raucous crowds, and if you watch the game, you notice there was a fair amount of maroon in the stands because A&M travels well, especially to big venues like that. So all in all, a good win, not a whole lot of negatives to take from it. So proud of the team. They need to build on it though. And I think that would be my cautionary piece of advice at this point, because going 2 steps back against Auburn in 2 weeks will make all of these good feelings go away really quickly.
Well, that is a good point, and you're right. And it is a week to week kind of situation. And the playing Notre Dame is always weird. And this is not an A&M problem. It's a Notre Dame problem because you don't know how overinflated they were to begin with, because they are always overinflated by the media. It's no different than the Cowboys getting 9 Monday Night Football games or the Yankees always pick to win the AL East. That's a team that sports media likes to win, and so they're always going to position high somewhere near the rankings so they can make the playoffs if at all possible. Of course, the playoffs are probably done for Notre Dame now because they don't have anybody left on their schedule. But I think to decide whether it was a signature win or not, you'll have to wait to the end of the season to see what happens after it.
Yeah, and that's kind of my point. If you're an A&M fan, if you're an Aggie and you're happy about this win, you should be happy about this win.
Totally.
There's nothing that should take away from that. Just temper it a little bit, because what I saw from Notre Dame makes me think that there are going to be teams that we play on our SEC schedule the rest of the way. They're going to be better than what Notre Dame put on the field in front of us. And I could be completely underestimating A&M's offense. I still have some questions about the defense because we did give up 40 points. And I feel bad for Tyler Buckner. I'm happy that he missed the snap, but I don't need to know everything I know about Tyler Buckner at this point. The fact I know his name, you don't know the name of the guy who misses the snap unless you're NBC and you decide to show him for 30 minutes.
Oh, God, yeah. I wish more people were appreciating my joke that he's been excommunicated and forced transferred to BYU, but that thing has fallen flat so many times.
I think people are wary of I think we're in a era of a lot of Mormon stories. Like every documentary is about some offshoot of the Mormon religion and whatever they murdered or whoever they abused.
You mispronounced cult.
There's a little bit of fatigue when it goes with BYU. Maybe Oral Roberts. Maybe he could get transferred there.
Maybe he can get transferred there. The point is,
Oral is always funny.
He doesn't have to be he doesn't get to be a Catholic anymore. And if he's not a Catholic anymore, he'll get to enjoy some Oral. So there's that.
That's right.
Woo! But do want to shout out to one of the guys I follow on Twitter, John Patterson. He's also a member. I don't know if he's an actual graduate, but he's an A&M fan. But he made the trip and said that the fans in Notre Dame could have been nicer. He said it was a really fun environment. It's kind of fun to watch much like thinking about you during the game. When Jessica and I were watching it on our makeup date night that the Astros didn't ruin this time. Yeah, I have a problem. Nice for you guys to get that win. I think it was a big deal for the university and for the school. And regardless of what A&M looks like at the end, you beat the ranked team on the road, and that had been the monkey on A&M's back. Also, before you comment on that, shout out to the Chicago Cubs. I know it's a thing they do, but apparently they play the Aggie War Hymn. Is that the Hullabaloo thing? Hullabaloo Connect?
Yes, that is.
They played that on the Oregon. I don't know the names. They played that on the Oregon.
The Spirit of Aggie Land is the
Wrigley Field.
The War Hymn is the one everybody knows.
Okay,
but it is not the school song. It is just the War Hymn.
Okay, so they played that on the Oregon during at Wrigley Field. So that's kind of fun that they acknowledge that, even though Notre Dame's still 2 hours away. So that's kind of fun.
That's part of the experience, and I wish I was able to go this time.
I'd have gone with you. I would have invited myself.
I am sure there is somebody who flies directly into Indiana. I don't know why in the world you would do that, because the pro move on that trip is to fly to Chicago, enjoy a night in Chicago, drive the 2 hours into South Bend, attend the game, drive back to Chicago, get the hell out of Indiana, and then enjoy your evening.
See, you know me, I would have been like, are the South Bend Cubs at all? So I can go see another minor league park, but that's because I'm weird.
Well, that's, you have a certain amount of checklists that you have to continue to maintain, and I understand that. I respect that. You do that in the morning.
I do. Yes. I will say, though,
being in Indiana at night is not a great situation.
No, I was in Indianapolis, and I think I was in bed by 9:15.
Because as much as we want to put troops in different cities, I think the entire state of Indiana could be taken over by the National Guard, and nobody would care.
Well, yeah, you might be right, but no, a super huge win for Aggieland and for you, and hopefully means good things. I had the Aggies at 9-3 this year. You had them at 6-6, so we'll see which one of us is. See, but you're looking through lens through battered Aggie syndrome, so I can't judge you for not having any more confidence in yourself.
I don't even know if it's bad. I hate to be flippant about it, but if you sit and reflect. And I think fandom of anybody, because I'm struggling to even your Cowboys, when you were an NFL fan, you're talking, 30 years since they've really done anything significant. Yes, that's realistic. So when I started attending A&M to the time now has been about 35 years. And in that time, since we joined the Big 12, especially because the Southwest Conference was, a fairly easy conference to win at the end. We did it a bunch, and then we left, and then we joined the Big 12, and we won exactly one conference championship in 1998. And it is now 2025. And I'm mentioning that one in 1998 because it's the last time we won anything of note. And I know the A&M fans on here will watch this and go, "Oh, the 2012 season with Manziel was great, and we're number 5." Great. I need a trophy every now and then. I don't need it every year, but I want to have some hardware. And frankly, the Texas Bowl thing doesn't really sate my appetite for that sort of thing. I want national relevance. And to get that, I think you have to win a conference championship, or at least that was true up until last year when the playoffs expanded. Now it's probably get to the playoffs, but let's do that.
That is the thing is careful what you wish for. Everything is going to be it's going to be much. And we see this in baseball where people are trying to push away from things like division championships. It's going to get much harder to have things that make I don't know that I want to be a sports fan where it becomes a super duper all or nothing. And that is where we're heading. And I don't like it.
No, I do think there are some things that we overdo in college football. I think getting rings for a Cotton Bowl championship is just silly. I'm not begrudging the kids that get them, and they are kids still at that point. But do I need a ring commemorating the fact that I participated in the Beef O'Brady Bowl? I probably don't.
No.
But those things exist.
But these a conference championship, like you said, it's gotten harder. It's harder.
Yeah. Even if you had still split conferences, the division championship or the half conference championship or whatever, making the championship game, that would be something. We've only done that a handful of times, and I'm being generous with handful. So it's beyond just battered Aggie syndrome. It's just I'm very much in the mode of put up or shut up at this point.
Well, I guess the negative side of the Texas loss to Ohio State, where at the end of the day, that result, you're right, doesn't really mean anything. Because if they lost the game, everything's still in front of A&M. They won the game, everything's still in front of A&M. So I see where you're coming from. I tend to be, again, more bullish on them. Well, Hop, real quick. Hop. That's a bad segue.
You know what it's like? It's like giving the girl – it's like if I was to give one of your ex-girlfriends the benefit of the doubt. She didn't break my heart, so I don't give a shit. I can look at her and go, maybe she has some good qualities. Maybe this will be the year she turns it around. No. She's probably going to bitch the entire time.
Well, again, I say I still feel better about A&M's chances than you do, I guess. So
you do.
There's that.
Okay with that.
Where we are, but that's me. I'm a sunshine kind of guy, you know.
Hey, prove me wrong, kid. Prove me wrong.
Although I use the word hop as a segue. When I watched Jordan Alvarez's leg bend at a 90-degree angle yesterday, I certainly wasn't feeling very sunshiny. The idea that the Astros are calling it an ankle sprain, is there a grade 12 ankle sprain? Because that's what it looked like.
So photographic evidence being what it is, yes, it looked bad, and I know the stills look horrible. I also know that his foot didn't stay that way, so it's not like it's a break or anything where the foot's just flopped off the side of his body. I don't think it's good. I would be very surprised if we see him again this year. It would have to be the best possible scenario, and even then, I think maybe in 2 weeks. Well, maybe in 2 weeks he's pitch hitting or DH, maybe. But in 2 weeks, we might be in a playoff series, or we might be packing up our locker room. I don't know yet. But it's just another blow to this team that can, as we talked about last time, it just can't afford any more blows, both from a personnel standpoint and just mentally. Every time you start, I mean, they've won 3 of 4. We asked them to win 3 of 4. They won 3 of 4. They picked up a game on the Rangers last night, so spread that lead a little bit. But it's all got this cloud over it now because we just lost the best hitter in our lineup again. Maybe we get Paredes back by the weekend, and maybe that fixes things a little bit. But we've yet to see this entire lineup performing together
Yeah.
this year. And it's all due to injuries.
And if it's a bad enough ankle injury, I mean, it might not be April that we see them.
Yeah,
again.
I mean, that's the worst case scenario. I hope it's not that. We probably should expect that, knowing Jordan's history with injuries and rehabbing and how long all that seems to take. But if one of us is going to be sunshiny about this, the best case scenario is it's like a grade 1 sprain. He's out for 2 weeks. We don't have 2 weeks left in the season.
Yeah, like to me, it's like, okay, you're available to pinch hit and you just run straight.
Yeah, no turning.
As soon as you get to first base, I don't care if you've got to double into the gap. You have a single, my friend, and we're bringing in a pinch runner.
And maybe you talk through his translator and make sure he understands, hey, just hit the ball over the fence this time and you don't have to run.
Well, and why aren't you sliding? I mean, how many times have we seen it, Andy, in your life of watching baseball, where you see somebody step on home plate, especially in a play that ended up being close, and you're like, oh my God, how did they not get injured? Like, I'm actually shocked this doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah. It's the weird thing of physics and a heavy person. Jordan's a heavy man. It's all muscle, not calling him fat. But cleats and that piece of rubber that's kind of slick during the course of the game. Mm-hmm. You are surprised that it doesn't happen as much.
Especially slick in the first inning of the game.
Yeah. The Astros have had bad luck with base runners in their history too. I get reminded of not this kind of injury, but Carlos Hernandez, who probably could have been an ace level pitcher for us at one point and slid. This was back when we were in the National League and, pitchers batted, slid into second base and basically ruined his career.
Yeah.
So, some of us are a little bit touchy there, but it's another blow. And I just don't know how many more blows mentally this team can take. And it doesn't excuse any other stuff. And it shouldn't darken the Zach Cole story because it's been a great story for the past 4 games.
2 for 3 yesterday, getting inserted into the lineup. Joe Espada had a joke about, I'm such a good manager, I left him on the bench. And now you've seen him hit in 3 or 4 games. So you got to think, or 2 of 3 games, I guess. You got to think, okay, maybe he actually is a hitter.
Well, I mean, the book on him is not necessarily that he doesn't hit. It's that it's the lack of consistency. So he'll be really hot and then he'll disappear for a week, and then he'll go really hot and then disappear for a while. And he strikes out a lot, minor league wise. I think his rate, he got it down to 35% before he was called up. It was hovering around 41% for most of his minor league career, I believe, if I've read that correctly. He's he's also old for his prospect age. He's 25. So it's a great story for right now. I don't know that he even has a place on the Astros 40-man next year because we're going to have a glut of outfielders at some point. But right now, he is our best hope. He might be our Obi-Wan Kenobi.
We definitely need to make sure that we keep our expectations tempered for the young man, and hopefully he just stays hot for the next 10 games.
I mean, I'd settle staying hot through Sunday. That'd be good.
Yeah, stay hot through Sunday. Yeah, I mean, honestly, you win the series, you do you go a long way toward. I mean, I feel really confident still with the Astros doing both things. It seems like the offense in some is starting to hit better anyway, so there's reasons to be positive. Let's talk a little Longhorn football then. Let me go ahead and give you kind of my take on what I rewatched the UTEP game, and I don't normally rewatch games. But I had texted you a little bit of this while I was watching it in live, and I was shocked at how particularly the first half, conservative and vanilla it was. At one point in time, Andy, the Longhorns ran out of the I formation and ran basically a dive 4 times in a row. And then they would pass the 5th time. We didn't see any of and this is for 2 games now. We have not seen any of the motion, the formations, any of the things that you're used to seeing out of Sark offense. And it wasn't until the second half that they started letting Arch Manning run the ball. And by the way, when he starts running the ball and getting knocked around a little bit, he's throwing the ball better. I definitely think something's off with Arch Manning, but I think as much as anything, there's a little bit of there's been a vanilla take to these particularly these last couple of games that I think has as much to do with the Longhorns struggling as anything.
Yeah, if you could separate the Arch Manning piece for a minute, and I think that's important to do, even though it's difficult to do. It's very clear from watching at least the last two games, and maybe not so much with Ohio State, that Sark spent most of the UTEP game trying to establish the run and getting his offensive line to start playing a cohesive run blocking scheme. It's not sexy. It probably should be more successful with the level of talent they had versus the level of the opponent they were playing. But it's very clear that, and I've used the term toying with his food, there was not a serious effort to have sustained offensive drives the way you would in a conference game, for instance. And maybe Sark believes that the team can turn it on when you get to conference games in 2 weeks against Florida. Or who's your first one? Florida?
It's Florida, who thankfully is a very bad Florida team, it turns out.
Yeah. But and maybe they can, and maybe it's just, and maybe Arch is right when he talks about, I just need to play my game and we're fine and don't worry about it. But again, taking Arch aside, the inability to establish a run game against the level of opponents you've had for the 2 weeks is more concerning to me if I were a Longhorn fan than Arch's misfires. Because I think, like any quarterback, Arch is going to get hot and he'll be fine. Is there something wrong? Yeah, I'll put a pin in that for just a second. The bigger question is, why is your offense not functioning even base level responsibilities for most of the time? And if that's play calling because you're really clearly trying to work on something, which I think was most of the game against UTEP, it's understandable. Doesn't look good. Doesn't make you feel necessarily great, but there's very little consequence to it. There was never any danger of y'all losing the game. Now, put Arch back into it. Arch has a problem right now, footwork-wise, hitting receivers, body language. I mean, the whole thing is something's off. I don't think he's hurt necessarily, and I don't think Sark has any need to hide that if he's nursing a shoulder injury. If he was truly hurt, I don't think they play him in these games.
Yeah.
Because Ewers has been hurt, and you've seen the backup. And it's not like Sark has this thing where I'm just going to go with my number one guy and that's going to be it. But until Texas can firmly establish a run game, I don't think Arch can be as effective as he needs to be for the offense to run. And I think that's part of what you saw against UTEP. And then, and forgive me, whoever you played before UTEP, is this idea that we need to figure out how to run block so everything else will work. But I think you'll see a little bit different against Sam Houston, and I would assume by the time you get 2 weeks from now playing Florida in the Swamp, you're going to see a different offensive package being rolled out. Now, it'll be interesting to see how rusty that looks.
That's my big concern, because there is a part of me that's like, Sark set all the expectations for losing to Ohio State before the game started by saying things like a national champion in 2025 is not going to go undefeated. You should expect to see champions that have one, maybe two losses. And then even in that game, everything looked a little basic. My hope is that he's not doing this thing where he's not trying to provide tape for the opposition in the SEC until as late as possible. But then you end up fucking around and finding out, and then you can't execute what your actual offense is. And I have a feeling that's something that could be occurring.
I hate that philosophy. And I think it's part of the reason that I appreciated the late, great former coach of Texas Tech, because he only ran 2 plays, and there was no, I think 3 plays were a couple of route trees, but there was no hiding the offense. This is what we're going to do, and we're going to do it with a level of excellence because we're going to do it until we can't do it differently. And it's all they ran, and there was no hiding, but they were really, really efficient with what they did. I think coaches sometimes get in their heads about this chess match of, well, if I keep this thing in my back pocket, nobody will possibly be prepared for it. There are only so many things you can do on a football field. And I think at this point in the year of our Lord 2025, I don't know that there's anything offensively you could do that somebody hasn't seen before. Maybe play to play, but not over the course of a game. And so I would question if he's doing that. What's the benefit? You're hiding till Florida, and then okay, well, great. Now you've got 7 more games where everybody's seen everything.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that's not the
I
case, and I don't agree with the strategy if it is.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that it would be better to continue to work and execute at a high level against all of your opponents. But I'm not a highly paid college football coach, so what do I know? But it feels like
last time you saw I formation ever in your life.
Hell, A&M ran off a wing tee at one point on Saturday.
We ran a reverse wishbone. It was pretty sweet. I was into it. But yeah. Well, I do want to wrap the show up with a little bit of sadness, pop culture. We lost the great Robert Redford, like as I was pulling into the parking lot. Robert Redford, of course, incredible actor, director, very much independent film doesn't exist today without him. He was a champion of independent film, not just with Sundance and what really isn't. That's not even independent film anymore. That's independent film if you can afford Steve Carell. But he was a champion for all of it. He helped bring about Slamdance as well, which is the true indie alternative to Sundance. So, yeah, man, it's just lived a long life, lived a good life, but definitely sad to see him that he's gone.
Yeah, I think that when the discussion happens about great American actors, he's overlooked a lot just because he hasn't been in the public eye for the last several years. I mean, I think the last time he hit the pop culture radar for real was when he was in one of the Avengers movies.
Yeah, Winter Soldier.
I'm sorry, Winter Soldier. And I guess he did a cameo in Endgame.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
But it doesn't, that's not, if that's your exposure to him, I would highly recommend going and looking at things like All the President's Men,
fantastic,
Butch Cassidy, and Sundance Kid, and The Sting. I mean, and I was just randomly watching Sneakers this weekend, which is a very underrated movie from 1992. He does a masterful performance in it. He's always there was a masterful performance in everything that he did.
Underrated is A Spy Game with him and Brad Pitt.
Yeah. And I think I've heard that reference before that, well, he was his era as Brad Pitt, except Brad Pitt does a movie and you're going to see Brad Pitt be in the movie. So F1, I think, was a great movie, but I wanted to go see Brad Pitt drive an F1 car. So that's what you got to see because that is Brad Pitt's range, more or less. Robert Redford was the heartthrob that Brad Pitt was at one point in his career, but his range, his ability to act, his ability to emote, his ability to evoke emotion from you as an audience and get you to feel what his character was feeling was so far beyond 90% of what we see in film today. And that's not a me being of things were better when I was a boy kind of stuff, but Robert Redford should be, if you're doing a Rushmore of American actors, especially American male actors, he's got to be in that conversation.
He even talked in an interview about how he hated the fact that he was pigeonholed as being handsome. Boy, if I could tell you the nickel for all the times, that was my problem.
Well, you'd have all those bruises from all those nickels.
All those nickels. Rest in peace, Robert Redford, and crazy week behind us.
Well, and I think one of his more famous quotes kind of applies today. And then I walked down the street, people would look at me and said, "There goes the best there ever was."
That's right. That's us in so many ways. All right, we'll be back on Friday. Hopefully talk about the Astros taking 2 more from the Rangers and then previewing some more Aggie. And the Aggies have a game this weekend, or are they off?
We are on a bye week.
All right. Well, goodbye.
Well, the problem is I'm sure there will be some conservative folks protesting because they heard the word bye, and it's just
now all of a sudden our show's canceled.
Exactly.
And then I've just found out I'm going to get fired because that's the media landscape that we live in today. All right, for Andy, Tom Cheston, I'm Jim Christopher. This has been Off Day with Ballpark Nation.